how we kind of like get panicky, like, oh yeah, we have to, and it's like, it's all okay, really.
Right. I know we get in our heads a little bit like, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Is it going to
Yeah.
work? Instead of just like, yeah, trusting that it's going to work. I had a little technical difficulty last week. And so that's I hadn't up until last week. And so that's my little, a little apprehension. So, hey guys, we're Stay Wild Child. It's 2020. Ali Smith is my first guest. And I'm pretty excited about this conversation. So we have a mutual friend, Jill Smith. Well, we have actually many mutual friends.
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have many mutual friends. And last year, I met Ali at the Quantum Revolution Tour in October in Miami. And it was a fabulous event. And I was a little bit of a fish out of water at that time. So that might be why my memorableness, as you said earlier, wasn't as apparent, because it was all like, oh, like it was really new to me, some of the things that we were doing and the things that we were talking about.
Great.
But one of my favorite moments probably of my whole life was during the breath work that we all did together at that Quantum Revolution Tour.
Yeah.
That was really empowering to me. And the first time that I'd ever felt, and I'm a yoga instructor. I'd done breath work, never to that extent, and never in a group of people that were all on that same, they were all open, right? And they were all on that same like vibe and that same energy. And so
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. When, I'm glad you mentioned the word vibe. Because when you bring these vibrations together, we get entrainment and our resonance. Like, so whatever song we're singing, it grows louder when we come together. So when you get like people like this and their hearts are opening and we're breathing deeper into our bodies to become embodied, we are literally now as a team, because we're in this boat together. Like, there is like, oh, I don't care what he's doing with his life. That doesn't affect me. That ship has sailed. It's gone. You do care. What other people are doing is affecting your electromagnetic field and you. And so in that moment, in that event, when we came together and we were doing a particular breath work together, really combining our vibrations to a frequency that brought this resonance, and then we entrained as a group, that's power. And that is mature, responsible use of power. And that's where miracles happen. So I love that you're like talking about how you were in this place. I sometimes call it the wow factor as we're cracking open. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it's like, so the wow factor is great. You don't want to get stuck there too long, right? But like, it's like, well, then you come to this place where you might be like, well, of course that's happening. Of course I was thinking of so-and-so and I look at my phone and they just texted me. Well, of course, because that's how science works. Like that's how these lines of synchronicity work. So that was a powerful moment. Probably the favorite part of my experience at that particular training as well, at our event. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I always like to begin. So the group is Stay Wild Child, and I was in a meditation when this group idea came to me. And I remember myself, as this little girl riding my dad's motorcycle, and I'm like, where did she go? Right? Like, where did little Nikki Henderson go? Because I hadn't seen her in a while. So that's when I started my journey into reconnecting with my inner child, and Stay Wild Child was born. And I realized that there's a lot of women who kind of forget. We get caught up in society's definition of what society deems us as being a good mom, a good wife, a good partner, a good blah, 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 everything, all these rules and pressures and all of that. And then we forget. And so my hope is, my goal, my mission is to help women remember who they are before the world told them who they were supposed to be.
Right.
So I know that, sometimes I'm sure you get this a lot. People can look at you and say, oh, well, yeah, of course she's doing all this. Of course she's making things happen. Of course she's letting her light shine because, that's just who she is. But I know, well, I read your bio, so I know there was a time, and it was 25 years ago for you. So it's been a while. I mean, you've been on this shift for 25 years,
Yeah.
which is incredible. I mean, I think I'm 48. I probably started feeling this at age 40, but
Yeah.
you've been on this journey for 25 years. And so you have so much knowledge, but go back to that time before, you were this inspiring beam of light that you are at this particular moment. So go back just a little bit, because I think people can get caught up in that can never happen for me.
Right. Well, first of all, I would say that you've been on the journey for 48 years, because whether you've been on the journey or not, I'm going to annoyingly do that because it is the teacher that I hold myself to be. You're always that shining beam of light. One of the things that I think happens, and I am going to weave some science in here, I'm a bit of a science geek, is, we were talking about vibration and frequency. And so generally, as we are aging, we're growing up, we're told we have to do this adulting thing in order to survive, which on some level we do. And so it's how much you decide to buy into what society, outside authority, is really telling you. Well, this is the way you create success. This is what's going to make you happy. But the truth is, you're the only one. You are the only one that has the inner navigation to know what is going to make you happy. And what makes you happy may not make that person happy or that person happy. We have a unique formula and equation. I think all of us are renegotiating at times, like in our life, like that it begins to change. For me, making I statements here, I was a child who kind of was the child you couldn't figure out, meaning like I wasn't a people pleaser. So I did not care to please my parents and do what they wanted me to do. They would have been so ecstatic if I just stayed on task and got the 401k and the great health insurance plan and all of this, and had stayed with, the schooling and this, that, and the other. That was not the way I'm wired. I am not wired to be here to do that. Some people are. So this isn't about it being right or wrong. It's about knowing your own wiring and being true to my spirit being the active agent, of whatever I'm creating. So for me, I was always very attracted, quite honestly, to jobs that had no security, no backup, and I needed to literally love what I did. I loved bartending. I bartended for a very long time. I believe to this day, it is one of the strongest tools that I exposed myself to strengthen my pituitary and pineal gland, my intuitive senses,
Sure.
and reading people and energies and myself.
Right.
So, but my parents were like, when are you going to get a real job? Like, you're doing this like yoga thing on the side. You're never going to make money at that. And then like you're bartending, like, when are you going to grow up? And I had a very serious conversation with my mother. I think I was around the age of 22, and the conversation was coming up like it always does. And I'm perfectly happy, by the way, bartending, teaching at the time step aerobics. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What the hell is step aerobics? It was a thing. But I did step. I had like 4 or 5 different jobs that I did. I've always been kind of like this hustler, like, oh, I'm doing this now and I'm doing that. But I was working as a personal trainer. So I had like 3 or 4 different things going on. And my mom, once again, was coming up with this, like, when are you going to get it together? Like, when are you going to pull all this together and grow up? And quite honestly, I'm like, I'm paying my rent. I'm not borrowing money from anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm checking in and I'm like, am I happy? Yes. I was partying really hard. Yay. I mean, like, I had fun in my 20s, but I had this moment come through me that was like, you know what, Mom? The way you want me to be, you're asking me when I'm going to grow up, when I'm going to get a real job. Probably never. Not with your definition of that. And as long as we keep coming to this moment, I end up feeling a little shameful, like I'm wrong for, you know, whatever and you're disappointed because you're wanting something for me that, quite honestly, I'm just here to tell you, I don't want for myself. And she was awake, and she she took it in. I could feel her take it in. It was a great moment. And that was the end of that conversation. And I was free. And I've always just, again, followed this inner calling of, okay, so now I'm doing this. So personal training kind of transcended, it transmuted into more yoga. Yoga ended up saving my life numerous times. It has been a great navigation for life and me managing my life, my ups and downs, my dark passions, you know, all of this. It has been such a tool and technique for me to understand the mechanics of my body, of my psychology, like just literally, I love it so much. That's why I teach it. You know, so am I answering the question? Am I on
You
track?
totally are. I love how you had the truth was resonating with you, and you didn't have a fear of speaking your truth, even at like the age of 22.
Yeah.
I'd already fallen into people pleasing mode at that moment of my life. And so, I mean, kudos to you for standing in your power at that moment.
But sometimes that's just like, maybe that's just part of my story, her story, your history. Like, you're just like, okay, so we go through a different, I believe we go through these different offerings of like required dark processes, whatever that may be. That may be, I go under the spell of society and then I wake up from the spell. That could be part of her story. For me, I was like, I am not drinking that juice. Right. But it doesn't mean that I didn't go through other struggles that are in like, you know, different ways that you, Nicole, maybe are like, oh yeah, that was never a thing for me. You know, like I was pretty clear with that. We're all like, we have this opportunity to learn from each other. I have a study guide of whatever it is that I personally have experienced. And what I love to do is take those experiences and find the medicine that can go in my medicine bundle. And then I just get turned on by sharing it with others. It just makes me come alive. So I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to choose not to believe, not to listen to anything that might counterintuitively work with what I know to be right and true to me. Meaning, I've heard people say, you can't make money at yoga, you can't make money at being a healer, you're gonna like live in a van down by the river, and you know, and it's like, I'm not. So like, I live in a house with a roof.
You're not down by the river.
You're not down by the river.
Yeah.
I drive a nice car, you know, like I chose not to put that into my belief system. And so that wasn't in my template. I just kind of was like, you know, no. That might be that's an I statement. You believe that to be true, but I don't. Right. And also there's this little like rebel, like I call her Dark Alice. Like there's a shadow in me that's like, and watch how I do this. You know, so it's like, I use that darkness to actually direct, you know, what I would like to manifest, what I want to create.
I love how you called it medicine bundles, because it's so true. When you've walked through these experiences, which obviously, you know, I told you I fell into that people pleasing mode and that approval, right? That unworthiness. But now I can go back and I can look and see, now I have the medicine for these life events that transpired that made me into the person that I am today. And so now I have the medicine to help people heal in these areas, especially if they still find themselves stuck and want to move forward.
Accurate.
Yeah. Cool. I got all that. All right. So let's talk a little bit. So I know that you've had some some illness in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and that brought you, did you move straight into holistic healing at that point? Did you go into a Western route and then switch gears? Do you mind talking just a little bit about that?
Not at all. I'm an open book. Yeah, so I was in yoga and healing. I was studying shamanism for, I would say, about a year. And then I call it the initiation. And so I was initiated deeper into healing modalities and alternative offerings, if you will. And my curiosity and this like compelling to go deeper, the doorway that I entered was through cervical cancer. And so I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and I'm not a numbers person, so I know this is ridiculous that I can't give like years. I can give like roundabout times, but the reason I'm mentioning this is because I feel part of that is because the medicine that I practice works so well. I don't associate my identity anymore with cervical cancer. So I knew in order to like move to the place of healing, I couldn't use language such as I hear it in other people, my cancer, my illness. It's like, there is a place you could work with. I'm now able to talk about this. I have no attachment to time with it, so I don't tether it in time. And I don't have much of an emotional charge with it anymore either. So I'm able to talk about it without falling apart or, you know, getting overheated. So I mention that because, well, number one, because it's usually a question people ask, what is the year? And I'm like, I think it was around 2010. So we're in 2019 now. And by the way, I am cancer free. I am healthy and happy. I went in, how this started was I really, for the first time, I felt in my late 30s, I want to have a baby. And so I wanted to make sure before I started this particular process that everything was like good down there.
Sure.
And so I went in for a pap smear, and then they did, and excuse me, because people online, you can help me out, or maybe you can, Nicole. I went in for something where they put a dye in you and they kind of tilt you to make sure that everything is open, like your tubes are open, that everything looks clear. So I had those two procedures done. And as I was leaving there, I'm thinking, wow, I'm like one more step closer to having a child. Like, this is really, really exciting. And then I got a phone call 2 days later that there was a problem and that I needed to come back in, that they wanted to take a biopsy. And so they did. And then they wanted to take another biopsy. And so they did. And then they wanted to do surgery. And so they did. And this is just something this is what you do. This is the process of what you do. So I'm going to like fast forward it because it could be a really long story, but I'm just going to give you like the highlights of it.
All right.
So I went the Western route. I went the Western route, and everything really went pretty smooth. I never felt sick the whole time. I felt sick after the first surgery because I had to take, I guess it was like a chemo type of pill. I had to take that for a while. That did alter me. But in the grand scheme of things, I maybe was out of commission for about 3 months. My mother did move in. I did feel some sickness, but anyway, my surgeon was like, oh, we've got it all. Basically, this is going to be a blip on the screen. He felt very, very confident. They were able to save my cervix, but they did have to take some from the cervical canal. It was moving. And so I just went back to life, and I'm the good healer I am. So I asked the right questions of myself. How am I going to know myself better? How can I be grateful for this experience? How can I, nourish my compassion for others? Like you were saying, it's like now I might be able to reach. So my intuition was like, oh, heads up, there'll probably be some females that might be attracted to me going through similar circumstance.
Yep.
Well, within about 7 months, the cancer was back. So I had to, after I went through this, you have to go back every 3 weeks and then every 6 weeks. Like they monitor you for a period of time. So I was about to graduate to that next step, and they're like, oh. And again, it was aggressive and it was moving up the canal. And now they're talking about like taking the cervix out and doing, and I got scared. Like I was scared. And again, my doctor's like, this is what you do. There's like, you have choice, but this is what you do.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So I scheduled the second surgery, and the surgery was scheduled on a Friday. This I do remember. The surgery was scheduled on a Friday. That Tuesday I had to go in for your pre-op and sign insurance papers, and this is what we're going to do, and also talk about aftercare, possible chemo and radiation treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And so I drove myself that day by myself. I drove my husband's truck because there was really nothing, there was no biopsy being done. This was all just talking and getting information, receiving information. And right away, my insurance would not go through. And they were having problems with that. And I'm like, but nothing has changed. And you know this isn't pre-existing because I literally just, this is strange. To the point they were even saying at the clinic, this is strange. Now, I share that because I want to influence anybody out there. That's sometimes the heads up that, you know, your upper faculty is like,
listen, sign.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Yes. I'm talking to you.
Yes. Like grace works very critically sometimes, you know? So I didn't get that right away though. I didn't. I was like still under the spell of I'm going to, but they said, don't worry, we'll work it out. Go ahead and, you know, go to where my doctor was and my nurse practitioner to have the next conversation and sign the next papers, you know, the papers that are like, if you die, you won't sue us.
Right. Yes, those little papers, yes.
Yeah. So I went in and my doctor was talking to me. He was in front of me. My nurse practitioner was like kind of off to the left. And as he was talking, I couldn't hear him anymore. And it's like the room kind of filled with this buzziness. Now, I have worked with the other side for now years at this point. I work with supernatural and energy and, you know, I work chakras. This is not a weird thing for me. I'm very comfortable. But this was like a little bit more theatrical than I had even been used to. Like if someone comes to me for an appointment, my eyes don't roll in the back of my head. I don't levitate or have to go into like major, you know, I don't go anywhere. I'm right here as I'm talking to you. I can get online with the upper faculty channels. And there's really not a lot of drama. This was dramatic. Like I felt like I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, am I going to faint or throw up? Or am I like, what's happening? Or am I going to like, excuse me, but I'm going to say it because I'm Allie. Am I going to poop my pants here in front of it? Like something's going to happen. Like, because I no longer can see him. And it's like he was moving away from me. And I didn't see, but I sensed something come in the room like this. It was very snake-like. And I thought for sure that this entity was going to sound like, you know, a big masculine, like monster voice. And it wasn't. It came in and it had a very angelic sound. And the message was, no surgery. Not now. There's something we wish to show you. And then everything came back online. My doctor came on, nurse practitioner, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
Literally, like, I'm like hot behind the neck, and I'm just like, and I am that girl that's like pretty transparent. So I want to be like, yo, you guys. But very quickly, I received another hit that was like, so the psychiatric ward is one floor up. You may want to keep this one to yourself.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, no problem. I left there. I'm like, yup, see you Friday. Got in the elevators, was trying to get online to like my pit crew. They were pretty silent. The only thing I could feel or sense from them was like, this isn't how faith works. You aren't given a message to do something or direction. So we give you spiritual direction. Now you practice faith. So if you know exactly what to do next, how are you practicing faith? Right? So here I am in this spot of like, do I have the surgery or what am I doing? And I got in my husband's truck. I put the hands on the steering wheel and I said out loud, I'm not having surgery Friday. And Nicole, I felt a surge of energy move through every chakra. Like I felt like, you know, the scene in Wizard of Oz when like the munchkins are like, the Wicked Witch is dead. The Wicked Witch is dead. And they're like celebrating and singing. Yes. My organs were doing that. Like they, like as if they were like, she's going to listen? Oh my God. Oh my God. And I felt like I had drank like 6 Red Bulls. You know what I mean? Like,
totally. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm like, let's go.
Everything's alive.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go. Yes. And so, but now I realized very quickly, I now had the task of telling my family, I'm not going to have surgery. And again, this wasn't like, I'm not going to have surgery ever. I'm not going to have surgery right now. There's something coming. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to take faith in that. And I did. So I canceled the surgery and I told myself I'm going to try to alkaline my body to the best of my ability. So I, you know, no coffee. I'm doing green drinks. I am taking this like super, super seriously. I'm doing all my energy work, the yoga. I just like amped it up. And a couple days later, I had a friend, Ray Christ. He runs the Jaguar Path in Lenox, Massachusetts. He had called me. I'd gone through the program and about a year before, and he had called me and he said, so Ali, I think this year is the year for you to go to Peru. And I said, absolutely. And he said, what? Because I knew, I was like, oh, this is it. This is my invitation. And so I told him, you know, what was going on. And he was my guide, taking me for the first time to Peru and introducing me to some very powerful medicine people there. You know, and that's where I started to study in 3 different lineages. So I was there for a period of time. I'm going to fast forward this. See, I could make this even longer, Nicole.
This is great. I love every minute of it. I'm just like taking it all in.
Yeah, no worries. But I came back from that experience, and yes, I did some plant medicine. But I really feel like, well, let me I'm like building to the climax of the story, right? So, I came back. And the deal was, you know, in coming back, I wanted to go and get a biopsy done before we moved forward with a surgery. Like I wanted to like see, like, I don't want to just hop in and go to the surgery. I want to see what's going on. And they had even said, well, insurance is not going to cover that. I said, that's fine. Like, that's fine. I believe in this. So there was another act of faith. And so they got me in like right away because I do feel like my doctor was like, you're an idiot. You know, and maybe some of my family members, but they also knew me long enough to know you're not going to influence me to do something that I'm not on board to do. So when I feel something is right for me, that's good luck. I'm stubborn in ways that can be challenging if you are in my circle.
Yes.
So, and thank you to all your friends and family. Yeah.
For you, it's all like just, your path. But for others, it's like, let's see what happens.
Yes, exactly. Like, oh God, what's Ali doing now? So, to make a long story short, so I went there. I was waiting. Now, normally, anytime I would be waiting for results, which if you've ever journeyed with something such as a circumstance with cancer, it always felt for me anyway that I was constantly waiting for the lab to give the results, to let me know where I'm at, what the personality is, like all of these things. He did not call me. My nurse practitioner called me like within 2 days. So my phone rang. And you know how it comes up, that caller ID thing. So it comes up and I'm like, and so I literally answer the phone, Gina, tell me. Gina, tell me. And she says, what the hell did you do in Peru? And I said, you tell me. And she goes, seriously, what did you do? And I said, tell me what's up. She goes, we can't find a thing. There's nothing there. So, and then she said again, would you be willing to please tell me what you did? I said, I am willing to tell you what I did. My doctor never talked about it with me ever. Like, he did not want to touch that at all. The nurse practitioner, she was like way leaning in. He was like, and you know, because it just never happened. Well, it happened, you know, so, and I would love to tell you, like, when she told me, I was like, yes, but I wasn't. I was a wreck. I dropped to my knees. I was doing that like ugly, beautiful cry, you know, just like the rocking back and forth cry of just like, ooh, you know, like, it was dramatic. I was very been
there.
Yeah. So needless to say, my respect for the work that was offered to me, and these tools and techniques that were offered to me from these amazing people in Peru, I had a whole nother level of respect for, because now I've experienced it through my heart center, and I experienced what I deemed an inner miracle for myself. Now, I do believe I could have been healed the second I got into my husband's truck and said, I'm not having surgery. Something moved through me. Whether or not that cleared it, quite honestly, I do not give a shit.
Right.
I don't. I just don't. You know, I have people be like, do you think it was this? Do you think it was that? Whatever. I was scared. You know, that was very scary. I have so much compassion for those that, number one, their story goes on and on and on with dealing with that circumstance. My story has closed with that particular circumstance. So I really don't, you know, I'm glad I listened to whatever I listened to inside. And again, this opened an initiation for me to get very serious about reaching others. Like saying, you know, hey, I'm totally cool sharing with my story. I don't lead with it too much anymore because it's not like my identity, and I wouldn't even say it's the heart of my teaching. The heart of the teacher has always been with me. You know, so it's like this definitely influenced her it like called her forward. Like, come on, honey, are you going to teach or what? This is part of your soul mission on this planet. You didn't come here to live in fear and insecurity. So let me show you something. Let's get it. And that did. It woke me up perfectly for that.
Wow. 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 Incredibly inspiring. I've heard stories like this on, you know, different documentaries and that type of thing. And they're just so moving because it's such a different way to look at it versus going with society's norms on what authority pressures you into.
Correct.
And you listened, and it's beautiful.
It's empowering,
you
know, it's empowering.
Like that. So, very empowering.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I think that you're doing, you know, by having this channel of communication and choosing particular frequencies to entrain with, right, to create this resonance out there, is to empower other people. And part of that is stories where we have lost power. Where have you lost power? On some level of some systems of Ali, I have lost power. For me, particularly, I believe, I don't know for sure, I think the cervical cancer definitely had to do with a loss that I had experienced when I was like 19. And, you know, so I understood the loss here, but I still had some things to do in my energetic system. And when I wasn't doing it, it crystallized and it formed a cancer. And so it's like, it was really just calling me to say, hey, you know, it's really time that you grieve that all the way through. It's really time that you finish digesting that you don't just say, oh, that's in the past. And, you know, sometimes it takes more than me just saying the past doesn't have any hold on me. And it's like, you could say that, but is that how you really feel?
Right.
You know, taking that moment to be like, is that congruent with, you know, how I really feel? And I think there was some incongruency there for me that I needed to dive deeper into. And so
absolutely, asking yourself the questions.
Yeah,
it sounds like you've gotten really good at asking yourself the questions if you've moved past it and stepping forward.
well, you know, we need to, what I'm looking for anyway in teachers, like if you're going to lead, if you're going to position yourself to lead and be authentic and genuine in it, you better be doing the work yourself. And so I love using myself, especially throwing myself under the bus at times that I have contracted. And like, let me tell you where I wasn't so graceful. Let me tell you where I had no humbleness. And then life humbled me real quick.
Right.
You know, it's like, I love doing that because it's like, I think that, you know, for me anyway, it's not about, hey, look at me. It's like, hey, like you're the hero of your journey, not me. I don't want to be the hero of your journey. It's not my job to manage your energy. It's your job. What I want to do is I want to influence you to create internal conditions so you can withstand the outward environment that we're in right now, which is basically a chronic fight or flight, because that's coming in. So how strong is your electromagnetic field, your energy field? How strong is your heart rate variable? Because it will be the dominant one that begins to train all of us. So it's like, I just want to share some tools, techniques, technology that I've collected. If somebody's interested in learning them or hearing about them, it's one of my passions. Like, it wasn't hard to get online with you. It's like, yay, I get to talk about stuff like this. Like,
Right.
Will people listen? Awesome. That's cool. Thank you.
So
People are listening. That's good.
So let's go into so your adventures in Peru. Like, you said you're not great with numbers and keeping track of all that, but I'm assuming you visited Peru multiple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Multiple times. The next journey that I believe I will be taking is going to be 2021, because Nicole, are you coming to Bali with us or what, girl? Come on, I want to hang out with you deeper.
Yes. So I want to say yes with every fiber of my being. It's actually my birthday time frame. I'd love to bring my son with me. That's what is in the palm of my hand that I am going to be bringing forth. I so want to be there. So talk about your Bali trip.
Oh, thank you. I'm about to promote ourselves right now.
Please do.
Transparency is nice, right? It's like just no. Well, okay, so Bali, just to like, if I can influence you to get even more excited about Bali, why Bali is really calling to me right now and why I said yes to this. This is going to be September 12th through the 17th. We're going to be in Bali. And then I believe we still have opportunity to go to Thailand. That might be full. I'm not really sure. Jill Smith is your girl on that. She is so good. I really do not know. I know where I'd be without her, but I don't want to.
Right.
Like, I know I'd be okay without her, but I don't want to. She's, oh God, I can't even.
She's the coolest. Yeah.
She is such, her vibration, her frequency. Yes, please.
Yes.
So to be able to go with her, and those of you that have watched her podcast, like, it's like, yeah, like the two of us together in the same room, girl, can you even handle it? We're coming at you.
Right.
Why I said yes to this is, well, first of all, I got goosebumps when Jill started talking about it, and I got giddy. And it's interesting because like the Peru trips, I wouldn't get giddy. I get like, okay, you know, like I'm going into Peru. It is like, I feel like when I go to Peru, like you are going into higher altitude, literally. So you're gonna have to like control. It's an adventure. It's awesome. You come back different. Bali felt very like fluttery. Like, I want to put on different music and I want to manifest. And what's interesting about this particular island is that 7 ley lines cross this particular island. And it's said that each ley line is connected to each chakra of the body. And so I'm, being the scientist that I am, and I'm like, that is giving the power to manifest. I do believe there's certain portals on the planet that amplify your intuitive abilities, our intuitive abilities, and sharpen us, like the inner manifester, the inner alchemist that we are. And you are all alchemists. You all have the ability to alchemize your life, your stories, your feelings, like you are that. I do think there's certain portals on the planet that amplify that make it a little easier for us to maintain ascension. And so when you take yourself out of your normal routine and environment, and we know this through neuroscience too, when you take yourself out of that environment and you place yourself in this portal, magic is gonna happen, and like, it's majestic. So I'm super excited about that, and that's one of the reasons I said yes to this. This is like, you know, it's like, oh, to have 5 days on an island that's amplified in our ability to manifest. Personally, for me, I feel like I am going to be working in lines of financial power, like working smarter, not harder, and how I can animate that into my life. So I'm seeing this Bali trip as an investment, not a cost, but an investment. So it's like, based upon the returns I'm going to receive, I'm winning. I'm coming out on top. Peru, actually, same thing. And that's, I believe, my experience in Peru. Each time I've gone to Peru, it's always been an investment. It's always given me an amazing, amazing return. And so that that really tenderized me to understand that about Bali. This is just going to be a different portal. I think, you know, too, it's paying attention to what portals you feel called for. I went to Hawaii recently, and I was so ready to be like, oh my God, because Hawaii had been on like my bucket list forever. I was like, oh my God. The whole time in Hawaii, I was like, it's really beautiful. But there was no like, wow, or like, oh my God, or, you know, in Peru, I could walk around a corner and I'm crying and someone's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. This is like amazing. I am like, I'm changing molecularly inside. And it's just like, okay, you know, like, but that's different for everybody. You know what I mean? So Hawaii was gorgeous and beautiful, but like what I was expecting, it wasn't happening.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. So are you guiding? Are you teaching in Bali?
Yeah, I am teaching. I will be leading some yoga. I will also be leading, I believe we're going to be doing a fire ceremony, which I love to do. So we'll be burning old contracts. You know, so this is an opportunity to really rewrite his story or her story, and create something new, because I will be offering teachings of how to do a sand painting, which is really juicy stuff too. So this is a way that, again, you're in this portal. And so in this portal, I will be teaching on how you can be, you know, you're familiar with vision board. I'm sure many of you out there have done like a vision board. This is similar. I won't get into it now because I'll get into teacher mode big time. And then like you're going to have to be like, we're done. But this is like a vision board of nature. So you use all nature. You use the earth herself to make this, if I say like request, this download, this email sent of what you're looking to manifest in your life. What are you wanting to create? And so when you take that portal and you put it in the portal, it goes straight up. Like, drop the mic. So I will be doing 55 sand paintings when I'm in Bali. I will be teaching one on how you can do it. But I mean, I am just like, I'm stoked to be able to have the opportunity to drop in really what I'm looking to animate in my life.
Mm.
So we'll be doing that. And my colleague, Anthony Profeta, he is an amazing meditation teacher and I'm going to say sound master. I don't know that he would call himself that, but I just did. He is going to be offering meditation as well. And of course, the amazing Jill Smith will be there. And then her husband, Derek, who's awesome, and also master meditation.
Absolutely.
You know, for me, I'm very sensitive around being frequencies that are actually doing the work. Like, are they walking their talk, right? Mm-hmm. And so the moment I met Derek, actually, I was like, oh, he's doing it. There's no convincing you have to do of it. When he's talking, I know he's talking from his own experiences. He's talking from the frequency of his heart. And I am just thrilled to be around authentic, genuine frequencies that are really here to say, hey, you know, when we gather together, we're stronger.
Absolutely.
So like, let's do that in Bali. Let's do that in Peru. Let's do that in Lakeland, Florida. Let's do that in Boston. You know, like, where can we gather ourselves and really give yourself the ability to like raise that vibration that you are? Like we say that, right? We're like, raise your vibration. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And it's like, do you really know what you're saying though? Do you know what you're saying? It's like vibration is particle moving through matter, right? And so it's like, that's what it is. The speed at which it does that, frequency. Frequency. The music that comes from it. All right. So we got the crystal ball, right? Yes. So this is vibrating. Everything's vibrating in the universe, right? Everything is vibrating. So the frequency at which this vibrates makes this noise. Now that's resonance. Like, it's still going. It's still going. It's still going. Sometimes you are a crystal ball. You are this. So if I hit you, what kind of music are you making? And some of us, we accumulate because we're buying into the outside authority. And again, we're collecting impurities from our foods and everything else and people. And you get around too many people that are here. Right? Like, right. It's like, how do I get back to? And sometimes that means we have to step out of our environment. It does. You know, to do that. But it's like, I like to share that because I feel that we can take some of the languaging that we're talking about with vibration, frequency, and now you really can know what you're saying. It's like, so if I do this with my vibration, it's going to alter my frequency. And then my resonance, the music that's coming out of my heart is going to be different. And then guess what? It's going to attract different people.
Right.
So if you go from, like, if you hit my crystal bowl and I go, hello, darkness, my old friend. And I want to raise that. Right. And so I do the things to, like, I'm like, okay, you know, I shouldn't even say raise. I should say change. Right. Yeah. It's not about it being bad. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs. Right.
Yeah, it's a good song. Yeah.
It's a good song. It's a good song. And it has a vibe to it. Right. If I want to change that vibe, then I have to come inside. I do the work. And then when I hit the bowl, maybe it's like something like, I'm so fancy. You don't even know I'm in the fast lane. From LA to Tokyo. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, well, that's going to attract. If I start doing that in my tribe, I'm telling you right now, most of my friends, they might be listening. They're already like, yes, girl. They're going like this. And they're like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? And
right.
Yes, there's the power. Power. It's about what you want to attract. You get to decide that.
Yes, you do.
You get to decide what operating system you're coming through. You get to define that yourself.
Absolutely.
Nothing else should define that. Nothing else should define that. You know, you get to do this. You're the director. You're the producer. You're the hero of your journey. Uh-oh.
This is in your bio, and this is what I want you to close out on this.
Okay.
You're the rattle, you are the drum, you are the feather wand, you are the most sacred object on the altar. You are the altar. Find your medicine song and sing it.
I mean, what else is there to say? Who said that? That is amazing. As I'm hearing that, it's authentic to me. And as I was listening to it, I was feeling a little emotional, because it's like, yes, it's a reminder to myself, even every time I say that or hear that, it's like, you don't, in the big picture, you are the rattle. You don't need the rattle. You are the rattle. You are the drum. You don't need the drum. I love drumming. But you've got this heartbeat inside. That's your drum.
Mm-hmm.
You are the alchemist. You are Bali. You are Peru. You are. And so it's like, you are the most sacred object on this altar. So if we take the altar of your life and you create an altar, you need you. Don't lose yourself. That's why, Nicole, you're so passionate about, like, oh, I don't want to lose my inner child again, because I notice that when I'm walking with my inner child and I have that relationship with her and I keep it in right relationship, it polishes the sacred object that I am. I can be more of me, myself, Nicole, and then I can be there for others in a big way, right? And so it's like, you're the medicine. You are the medicine in your medicine bundle. So I can do these ceremonies, they're powerful. You can do all these things, but ultimately, you are all those things. They're with you all the time.
You're just the gift to help people remember that they have these things inside of them that sometimes we can forget.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the word, like, gift too, because for me, the way I feel it, sense it, and actually even teach it is that, you're not special. And I say that, I know that some people are like, oh, I kind of am. It's like, okay, so I can say we're all special or no one's special. Like, these are about skill sets, and we have reached the psychic age. You have arrived. It's not the new paradigm is coming. You're here. And if you want to be able to maintain your power in this psychic age, you're going to have to sharpen your tools, your pituitary gland, your pineal gland. You're going to have to update your language and know what you talk about. You're going to have to require that you stop saying that. When I see someone, and women, we are bad about it, myself included, where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I literally have been running around literally all day. You don't even, I need coffee so bad. You need to stop doing that. Like, that's
stop owning that, right?
Yeah. And believe me, again, I hear it come out of these lips. So I'm right. I'm there. But we need to require more from ourselves. The time has come. And so I want to demonstrate what it is to sharpen those abilities and skill sets. Intuition is not a gift. It's not something you're gifted from your great grandmother. I'm sorry to blow anybody out of the water, but it's not. It is something that you can either develop and grow like a muscle, or not. And quite honestly, I'm not here to judge anybody who's like, hey, I'm really not into all that woo-hoo-hoo stuff. I'm like, okay, well, good luck, because we're in the psychic age, so that might be a little bit of a problem, but like, I'm going to be here and I'm going to stay patient, and we're going to move forward regardless. The universe isn't going to say, oh, well, okay, and not everybody's on board, so I'll wait. No, like, this we're in it. We're in it right now. It's imperative that we begin to open up to the amazing skill sets that you have. We can practice being telepathic. Like, come on, it happens. You've experienced it where you're like, oh my God, I was just going to say that. Or, oh my God, that someone answers your question before you even had the ability to ask it. Well, they're reading it in your field. They're reading the vibration. They're running it through. And then their system says, tell them, da 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 da. Oh, hey, by the way, we're going to have to meet at 2 o'clock. Oh my God, I was just going to ask that. It's like, yeah, we're talking. We're talking. It's time we really up our game.
Yes. And become aware of it and listen to it. Like you said, you having that, you stepped out on faith when you were in the doctor's office that day. Although you did have, definitely an angel, who came and delivered a message, or yourself, came and delivered that message to you. Yeah. But you had the faith to really check in and listen and take that step forward. I'm doing a workshop right now on the 4 agreements.
I saw that. I was listening to you talk about the being impeccable with your word, I think is what you were speaking about. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that just so resonates with, the end of this. It's the impeccability of the word. It's what are the promises you're making to yourself? And are you moving forward in those declarations, those words that you're speaking to yourself? Are you doing what you say you will do? And then also, are you creating white magic? Are you speaking life into others' lives? Or is there a disconnect there and you've gotten caught up in the drama, the society drama? So.
Yeah, it's like, are my thoughts promoting or demoting? Because every thought is that energy. And so, based upon the thoughts being promoting or demoting, it influences what comes out of these lips. And then if I'm speaking something and I'm not living it, that's an incongruency. So that disrupts your ability to intuit, your accuracy of intuition, because you're not living in truth. You're still lying to yourself on some level. And again, self-esteem is huge. And so I love that you're doing that workshop. I love the fact, the word abracadabra literally means, create as you speak. I think it is. So me being a practitioner of Kundalini Yoga, we are huge on chanting and mantra, which is really just such a whole beautiful science in itself. I won't go down that rabbit hole.
It is beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah, I got a mantra this year. Well, it was 2019, so summer. I got a mantra from Amma, the hugging saint. And do you know who she is?
No.
The hugging saint, Amma. She's this beautiful lady, Indian, and she does a lot of work. She's a Mother Teresa-ish. Okay. Yeah. And so, she came to Dallas, which was awesome. And so I went and saw her, and she hugged me, of course, and then whispered my mantra in my ear. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful mantra that I speak quite often, but that was a really big gift. So
it's like your secret elixir to yourself. You know what I mean? It's so beautiful. And every time you receive that mantra from your own voice, whether that be inner voice or whether that be external, it's medicine. And it is. Remember who you are. If we can remember who we are, then we can remember who we are to each other. And then I have patience. Then I have some tolerance, right? It's like, it's all okay. It's all okay.
Remember, and whatever level that we're vibrating at, we also, different people will come in and out of our lives at different times when they're ready for that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's perfect. It's usually perfect timing. Even the shadow, when the shadow work comes in and you can recognize it, because if you recognize someone else's shadow, it's typically because you're in yours. Right. Right. So it's like, oh crap, and it's like, yeah, but it's okay. Again, I've named mine, I'm like, oh, Dark Alice is in the room, everybody. You're welcome.
So I heard. So I heard that there was some scandal going on with Dark Alice and Brad Pitt. Is there any truth to that?
It's all true. It's all true. And I'm ready for the truth to come out. Alice speaks. Okay. So, and also there was no rabbit that I followed. Okay. That did not happen. And I also had a mad love affair with the Mad Hatter. He was not crazy before I met him. I drove him mad. Okay. Anything else you want to know, Nicole? What else? The Queen, I have her head. All right. I actually wrote a song all about that. And that is true. I have wrote a song. I'm writing a screenplay on Dark Alice.
Really?
Yeah, girl.
You go, girl. I love it.
More to come.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, thank you for being so generous with your time, and how eye-opening this is going to be for so many people, and just giving people the freedom to really check in and listen to themselves, and how powerful we are, and how when we just start taking those steps, even though we can't see the whole staircase, how it starts to unfold. But it's trusting ourselves enough. It's finding that trust, right? It's that self-love and it's that trust. And then we have the opportunity to just, fly.
You have wings.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's one thing I'm like, I'm sure, I don't know that I'll be alive to see it, but I'm pretty sure we can fly. We just haven't figured it out yet.
Right. Yes, yes. Well, thank you, love. And I do hope to be with you in Bali. And I just so appreciate you taking the time, and thanks for being a gift to so many people.
Me too, Nicole. Thank you for wanting to do this with me. And I take time very seriously, because it's something you cannot get back. You know, I've said to people, like, I can return your money, but I can't return your time. So the fact that you invited me to do this for this time, thank you so much. And if anybody does have any questions or inquiries, you can find me email, because I'm in between websites right now. But you can email me at smithallison21@yahoo.com or alismithyoga@gmail.com. So if you have any questions about Bali or anything at all, you can reach me that way. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Yes, it was beautiful. Loved every minute of it. Thanks, girl.
Satnam.